State Office for Heritage Management and Archaeology, Saxony and
yeah, that's true.
And health, and she's in charge of several research projects focusing on traditional and future earth building in central Germany. And also she worked in Armenia too, working on petrographic petrographic, sorry. Yes, Robert, yes. So she did studies on rock art and digitalization, documentation of rock art in Armenia. So yes, so we will have better.
Yeah. So we will have 15 funny quick minutes. Yes, I'm the only one who is not going to talk about the Caucasus area. I will focus on central Germany, where we try to implement solutions for a sustainable future building strategy, as you right now started here as well. Yeah, so we try to learn from our traditional building techniques, documented, of course, by historic and archaeological evidence. Yeah, so I will try to give a, so to say, best practice example for reutilizing solid earth building. And as you might know, Germany is well known for half-timber constructions mainly. That's what you can see here with the green color. But we do have these very famous ones. It's UNESCO World Heritage Site as well. It's Lindenburg and houses we have date back till the 12th century AD. But as you can see, the brown hatches in here indicate that we have plenty other techniques for solid or massive earth buildings as well. Why? So why here? That's always the question, and that's very easy to answer because reasons for our huge inventory is always an optimal climate and the optimal soil conditions that we have. We are located in here, that's the small German country of Saxony-Anhalt that nobody knows. We are located east of the Harz Mountains. These are very low mountains, so it's not to say mountain, but the Harz provides, yeah, so to say, a shadow, and this is why we have here very good loess soils that are perfect building material because they contain a bit of chalk and that makes the walls very strong. And we have the perfect climate. This is what you can see in red. It's the so-called dry area. We have less than 500 millimeters of precipitation per year. That's very, very less. So poor water, so no water can harm the earthen walls, and that's very important. So, our main technique is not very spectacular. It's a cut technique, and it's pitchforked. So, yeah, for poor people mainly. And what you can see here are the several like sets of the pitchforked straw and clay mixture to build barns or dwellings or whatever. So this is how it looks like. In German we call it Vella or Wellerlehm, and it was in use until the 1920s. So after First World War, there was no energy, there was no building material, there was nothing like today. And this is why people started to re-implement their traditional building techniques. And the houses are still standing and in use. The second technique is red earth technique that we know worldwide, but in Germany or in central Germany where we had no Romans, never, this starts first in 1800 AD with François Pontereau, who introduced the PC technique in Paris, and it swept to Germany like within 2 years, and everyone started to go with red earth technique, with a wood framing. Yeah, you need wood and it lasts longer as the cop technique, but it was especially used then in the 1950s after World War II, when again we had nothing, no building materials, no electricity, and nothing to burn the bricks. So people erected the multi-family houses, so 2 or 3 stories by their own, as you can see at the depiction. So this was in Soviet times, and they again thought about what can we do, or let's use our traditional techniques. And the third technique to make it complete is what you have here in South Caucasus, mainly adobe or mud brick masonry, so dried brick laid with clay mortar. We don't have it very much, and it's usually used for, as you can see, the infill or the fillings of such half timbered houses. This is the famous Goethe Theater. His wife built that because it was very economic in Bad Lauchstädt, so it's also in Saxony-Anhalt. And yes, sometimes we have like huge buildings. This one is in Halle, where I live. It was built at the end of the 19th century, and it's unfortunately demolished because we don't have those houses under preservation or under special preservation. This is what we're trying to do, or what we're working at, not to lose everything. And as you all know, first step is always documentation, registration, to create an inventory. And this is what we do since 2020. You can find it in the internet. So we collect the houses, you can find photos, you can find description of the techniques and where they were based, even if they were demolished. Up to now we have about 5,000 buildings, but to be honest, we don't know how many they are, so hundreds, thousands, I think. Yes, so there's still a long way to go to become kind of an Earth and Heritage Center or whatever it. And yeah, the next question you always get as an archaeologist is, okay, how many are they? And the next one is, how old are they? Yeah, that's more easy to answer. So the oldest sources for the houses that we have are the ones still standing, where you can see 2 examples in here. They are from Thuringia, so the next small German country nearby. Yeah, all the 2 buildings have you can see a photo from inside and this one from outside. They have like massive basement erected in a pop technique, which we have seen, and the first floor is always half timbered. And they are dated by chronology, and so we are, so to say, here the end of the Middle Ages, beginning of modern era. And almost at the same time, we have the first laws on that. You can read one here from Saxony. It's an edict of 1560. The use of timber construction is to be restricted. Why? They don't have much wood, so the wood was always needed for other purposes. So not to take it to build your houses, but please take stone, and if you don't have, then please take earth. Yeah. And how much can we date it back in terms of archaeology? Of course, this is what my interest is focused on. And this is a bit difficult because different from what we have seen here today, we don't have in situ preservation. So we have a lack of about 30 to 60 centimeters of the ancient surface. That's all lost. So we don't have hearths, we don't have like ovens, we don't have activity zones. It's all lost by plowing because we have very good soils and very much wheat that is produced like there. But all in all, we have 3 sites that revealed indeed building rubble. I will show pictures right now from the first millennium BC. It can be much older, but this is what we have dated as well by C14 Amorite radiocarbon dates. So this is the biggest feature that we have, apart from other building parts in this settlement pit that was used as like dump pit or whatever within the settlement. There has been found a lot of remains of earthen construction. That's that layer in here, and it was preserved because it was dug in. So of course. Yes, and what you can easily see. So we have the remains, the red rubble of the massive earthen wall, and it was plastered with a gypsum and temper plaster that was also preserved. And wall, you can here see the thin slice, so the section is exactly the same as the less soil. If you take it, mix it up with water and burn it in the oven with 800 degrees. So it's exactly the same, and there's no temper inside. Yeah, this is what Ruben today in the morning already mentioned, or some points of it. So we have 3,000 years of tradition or building tradition in central Germany. Before concrete came and takes off its triumphal course, but what can be our lessons we learn for the future buildings? Traditional buildings materials, especially of course earth and soil, are always available very local, and that means you have few or no transportation effort, and you can extract or produce them with very low energy. That's very good. That means compared to concrete, or pressed stones like sandstone, for example, or burnt bricks, they have an excellent carbon footprint. And this is crucial if we take into account that the building industry is responsible for more than 40% of the global warming potential. So that can solve some problems. And as we have seen as well, or it was discussed, these building materials are reusable and not only recyclable. But you can take the building parts and use them again. So you can take the stone block again, or you can recycle them without many energy putting inside. And that also means less weight. For example, in Germany, building demolition accounts for more than half of the total rubble we produce. So in short, the traditional building materials can be part of the solution to solve energy and raw materials shortages, which we as well in these times again have. And I will quickly show you now what we started in central Germany. We all do love houses, but most of the people don't. So you always have to build new houses, not only, but some of them, and the use of the traditional material in traditional techniques means unfortunately a lot of labor. Anyone who ever does that knows that, and that means you either need volunteers, like we had in that case when we built a tourist information center at an archaeological Bronze Age site. Or you have to find new ways to make the traditional earth building techniques more attractive for the industrial players. So that means they need to become more efficient, so less time, construction side, and mainly less manpower, because nobody can finance that. So there are different research projects running within the frame of our network. One, for example, is liquid clay. So how can I make the earth liquid to use the infrastructure of concrete? Yeah, this is done by a colleague at the Bauhaus University in Weimar. And there's still another example, an AI-supported robotic construction of rent earth. Engineers from the university at Braunschweig are working on that, so the prototype is done and it works. Yeah, and this is Germany, so we need to take care of the legal framework. And no building without laws or German industrial standard. And all the standards that we had, they were out of use since the 1950s, since everyone used concrete. And now it's really a long way to go to create all those new standards. You need a lot of research and money and so on, and volunteer work. And first, DEAN is in force now since 2023. We are enabled to build Adobe or mud brick masonry up to full 4 stories again in Germany, and that was the guy who did the research, poor Philip. Yeah, it lasted about 6 years, but finally, yeah, it's done. And there are a lot of like experiments how to build houses with traditional natural materials. And this is my favorite. It has been built by Munich University, and it's located in Bavaria, and a nice, very small village called Bad Aibling. No one knows as well, but it's worth to go there and to see it. They have a lot of experimental houses built where people live in. To do measurements and so on, and this is a combination of load-bearing internal walls of adobe masonry or mud bricks or mud blocks, and for the ceiling and the outer walls, massive wood construction was used. So this is for Germany. This is the perfect combination and to have like modern houses, so to say, but with the traditional materials and techniques. And of course, you can see the UWP balancing down there. It's perfect compared to any other building materials. Yes, but of course, the most sustainable, as has been said today, is preservation of the existing buildings, and this is what we are also working at. This is kind of a best practice example in conservation. It's located next to Leipzig, and this was a extremely huge barn built of cop, and they wanted to demolish it, but happily it worked that it is now, or it serves now as a facility for retired people since almost 10 years, and they lived there yeah, quite happy. And yes, that was my presentation, and this is how it looks if nature comes and reclaims the earth and buildings, so it's very sustainable. Thank you.